Hello, everyone. Good morning. How are we today? So today's topic is 3 steps to feeling how you want to feel, shifting your energy, and magnetizing all that you desire. I am so excited for this topic. Okay, before we get started, let's do a little cleansing breath. So breathing all the way in and slowly release. 2 more at your own pace. And when you're ready, you can come back. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. All right, we're going to do a little sage to clear the space and set an intention for anything that the listeners need to hear today come through with clarity, groundedness, ease. All right. I have my little notes, my Post-it. I never write notes, but when I do like a 3-step to this, I'm like, might as well write the steps down. Okie dokie. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from, how you're feeling today. All right, so 3 steps to feeling how you want to feel, shifting your energy, and attracting all that you desire. So the first step, well, let me share a little bit about why I felt inspired to do this today. I have been in such a deep transformational period where I have had to really meet certain parts of myself in a deeper way than I ever have before. And what's come through this period is really what's most important in actually being able to feel how you want to feel. And we spend so much time reaching the next goal, chasing the next goal, that it all becomes this dysregulated, frenetic energy rather than actually grounding into each present moment of how you actually want to feel. So I want to use what I've learned in this deep transformational period and just come back to the basics of what's actually important, like what is most important. And so this isn't going to be like, do this one thing and you'll attract all your desires, but this is the way, right? It doesn't maybe sound or look as shiny as some of the other manifestation techniques you might hear out there, but this is really the way. And we have to be willing to do the uncomfortable, unglamorous, painful work to be able to feel how we want to feel. And it's so worth it because we are on this earth for a reason. We have this life to live. We might as well feel how we want. So the first step to feeling how you want to feel, shifting your energy and magnetizing and attracting all that you desire, is deep presence. If you focus on this present moment, and if you're listening to this, chances are you are safe. Chances are you are alive, unless you are from the spirit world tuning in. Chances are that you are able to take a few deep breaths in this present moment. And so deep presence is where we allow whatever is to be without trying to change it, without making it mean something. This is how we build internal safety, to show our nervous systems that we are safe to be with whatever comes up in life. And we do that through coming back to the present moment. And if you struggle to be in the present moment, it means that you have unprocessed trauma, because trauma disconnects us from the present moment. Trauma disconnects us from ourselves. And so when you notice protectors come up like control, perfectionism, overthinking, people-pleasing, comparison, judgment, rumination, that is a sign that your nervous system is in survival mode. So of course, if you need deeper support for processing that pain out of your body, please DM me and we can figure out a container that works for you. But for the purpose of this training, it's noticing those things and saying, oh, that's survival mode. But in this present moment, I'm actually safe. If you were to just stay in this present moment, and again, it's a practice of noticing, coming back, noticing, coming back. In this present moment, none of the problems that our minds create, the stories, the perceptions, the narratives, none of those are actually in this present moment, right? If we're thinking about something from the past or future tripping about something in the future, none of that is in this present moment. And so if you train yourself to come back to the present, you actually allow whatever needs to be processed to come forward. It is through the present moment that anything from the past will get triggered, that you will be able to feel and release. But for as long as you are thinking about the past or thinking about the future, you're not actually allowing for that processing to happen. So deep presence is looking at what exists in this present moment. Is there sadness? Is there shame? Is there anger? Is there fear? Is there joy? Is there guilt? Is there resentment? Like, what exists in this present moment? Is your chest tight? Do you have a knot in your stomach? Do you feel fluttery? Does your heart race? Is your mind racing? So just notice that. Notice that that is in the present moment. Notice anything else in the present moment. Like right now, I hear birds chirping. I can feel my breath. I can feel this Post-it note in my hands. Like, come back to the present moment. That is everything. Even if you could just do that one step today, practice that, you will change your life. I promise you. Step 2 is acceptance and radical honesty with how you are feeling in the present moment. So accepting of what is. So this is what happens as humans. We have an emotion come up, and let's say it's anger or fear, and then we automatically make that mean something, like something's wrong. Well, I'm feeling fear, so that must mean I'm in danger. Or I'm feeling anger, that must mean I have to do something with this anger. And this is because we never learned, we don't know how to slow down and just be with that emotion. So that's where you go back to step 1 of deep presence, step 2, acceptance and radical honesty. So in this present moment, I feel XYZ, and just accept it without making it mean anything, without making it mean that you're in danger. This is how we build internal safety, is you're showing your nervous system that in every moment you could be feeling something different, and in every moment you are safe to feel something different. You don't have to control how you feel. You don't have to attach on to how you feel. You get to allow the emotions to ebb and flow in every single moment. So step 1, deep presence. Step 2, acceptance of what shows up in the present moment, and just own it. You don't even need to know why. I feel angry. Doesn't really matter why, because it could be coming from historical, it could be coming from the present. We can get so stuck in our heads analyzing why that we actually just then end up avoiding feeling the feeling. So regardless of if you know why or not, doesn't actually matter. What matters is, can you just be with that emotion? Can you allow its space to exist without trying to change it, without making it scary, without making it mean that you're unsafe? You are safe to be with whatever comes up in each present moment. That's how powerful you are. And radical honesty, because we tend to have shame if we are scared. We tend to have shame if we are angry, because again, this goes back to childhood of, if we were not shown that it was safe to be with all emotions, then we're not going to understand that it's actually safe for those emotions to stay, because the key is that they're not actually going to stay. Emotions are always ebbing and flowing when we actually allow them to. They stay when we're afraid of them staying. That's when they stay, because we're so focused on them staying that that's what they end up doing. So our focus is guiding the boat, right? So we are the leader of our emotions, our nervous systems. If we're like, oh my God, what if it stays? What if it stays? What if I feel like this forever? You're going to have trouble moving that through because you're so focused on it staying. Step number 3, release control. This is a few steps in one. Release control, trust the timing, and take your inspired action. So step 1, deep presence. In this present moment, I am feeling blank. I'm feeling fear, feeling sadness. Step 3, release control. So you do not need to control this emotion. You need to just accept that it is here. You do not need to control the timing of which you experience the emotion. The emotion is going to be here for as long as it needs to be here. And then taking your inspired action. So the emotion does not need to take over where you are then paralyzed and you can't do anything. You still take the inspired action. So what is the inspired action? Well, let's say you feel angry and you feel inspired to punch a pillow. You can punch a pillow. Let's say you feel fear, but you know that you need to show up for your business. So the inspired action is you show up, you feel the fear, and you do it anyway. You don't let the fear stop you from showing up, because if you do that, you are relating to the fear as if you're unsafe. The biggest thing to healing anxiety, like healing anxiety 101, like you could take one psych class and you'll learn this, is allowing your nervous system to understand when there's a real threat versus a false threat. So if there's actually a real threat, you will know. Think about any time you've been in a near-death situation, if you have been, like I have, you will know. There's no questioning. There's no questioning of like, am I safe right now? Am I not? Like, there's no questioning. Your body will know if you are actually needing to be in survival mode. Now, when you are questioning, am I safe? Am I not safe? That is when you are most likely actually safe. Because when you're not actually safe, you're not questioning it. You're in full-blown survival mode. So when you're questioning, like I'm feeling all this fear, like I feel really scared right now. And you feel all those protectors come up, the control, the perfectionism, the need to know, all of it, trying to figure it out. When your brain is that noisy, if you were actually being chased by a bear, you don't have time to be ruminating. You are running from a bear. So you will know. So if you're ruminating with fear-based thoughts, if you're ruminating with trying to figure out, is this person safe? Is the situation safe? If you're in overthinking mode, all that means is you are safe, but you have some fear to feel. And through feeling that fear, you will have all of your questions answered. If you're questioning a certain relationship, a certain job, you're overthinking, should I stay in this job? Should I stay in this relationship? Should I take the job offer? Should I go on a date with that person? Whatever it is, when you actually feel the fear, on the other side of feeling that fear is going to be this calm connection to your intuition. So you have to breathe through the fear to get to the calm. And then the calm is what you follow. You don't follow the overthinking. That's a protector. You follow the calm. Overthinking is just a protector. That's all it is. It's like, oh, if we think hard enough about it, we'll figure it out and we'll be safe. But that's not actually true. It's actually the biggest waste of time. And I say that because I know I've wasted so many hours of my life staying stuck in my head. And that's why I'm here to save you guys time. When you notice overthinking, I'm safe, because if I weren't safe, I wouldn't be even having the space or the capacity or the time to overthink. And then it's an invitation to get to the root, which is fear underneath the overthinking, and breathing with the fear. So 3 steps to feeling how you want to feel, shifting your energy and magnetizing all you desire. Deep presence. What is happening in this present moment? What emotions are showing up? What thoughts are showing up? What body sensations are showing up? Remember, our emotions create our thoughts, not the other way around. So if you want to change your thoughts, you have to get into your body and feel the root of those thoughts. Remember my tree analogy. The root is the emotion. The branches that come from the root are the thoughts, are the perceptions, are the stories that are created from that emotion. So when you feel the emotion, you get to shift the branches. So deep presence, deep acceptance of what is. I feel scared. I feel shame. I feel angry. Something came up this weekend where I had this light bulb moment, and I was like, oh my God, all of the times that I've been shaming myself for my inner child behavior, which is not actually feeling the shame. That's very different. Feeling the shame, you're not shaming yourself, you're just feeling the shame in your body. Shaming yourself is an avoidance against shame. Let that one sit for a moment. Mind blowing. So, whenever I would shame myself, it was actually just a protector against deeper pain. So this weekend I was lying in bed and I was breathing and I was just doing some meditation, and it just hit me so clearly, like all these times that I've been shaming myself and then trying to change those behaviors that I felt shame around. It was all a deeper protector. This was a sneaky one. It was like the shame was there, but the shaming, the protective shaming, was a protector against deep grief that I was feeling around how terrified my inner child has felt and how much of my life I have lived through this deep fear when I was actually safe. Like, imagine you put on one of those virtual reality goggles, the movie thing that you put on your face. And in this is a creme de la creme analogy. Just wait for it. In the virtual reality, you are being chased by a bear. And so what are you doing in real life? You're running. You're running, you're scared, you're running, you're scared. And you take off the goggles to see that you're actually just in your living room, safe. Now imagine viewing your whole life that way, but you don't even realize that you're wearing goggles. Of course, that's going to bring up some sadness and some shame and some grief around the fact that you've been living your entire life through the lens of your childhood wounding, through the lens of your childhood trauma, through the lens of that little version of you that did not feel safe, who now has been living as an adult where you actually are safe because you're no longer a child that's dependent on other people for your survival. But you've been living through the lens of that little girl, that little boy, that little version of you, all to realize that you were safe all along, right? Like, that's so sad. And so there's this level of grief that comes with that, of I've been so scared when I didn't actually need to be, because it was just my inner child. And then there's grief around the fact that little you is not made to feel safe. When I think about all of our inner children, when I think about children today in the world who don't feel safe, and why don't they feel safe? Because our parents never learned how to attune to us, because they never were attuned to themselves. And this is generational trauma. And this is how we break it, is by learning how to attune to ourselves and to each other, by holding emotion, by feeling safe to be with emotion. And so when you take those virtual reality goggles off and you're like, wow, this whole time I've been running around, running for myself, running from the own pain that exists in my body, all to realize that it was safe to feel. I just didn't feel safe to feel it because I never learned how to feel safe to feel it. But now you have a choice. Now you actually get to learn how to feel safe to feel it. And when you do that, none of it feels as scary anymore. And then you have to be with the shame and the anger and the resentment and the sadness and the grief and the pain of the fact that this younger version of you didn't feel safe. And children all deserve to get their emotions attuned to. They all deserve to feel safe, right? We as humans all deserve to feel safe, to feel our feelings. And so it's not anyone's fault, right? This is trauma, but it's all of our responsibility to shift it. And so I had realized that by me shaming these behaviors that I was doing, it was all just a protector against being with the deep grief of the root of it, which was, wow, the only reason I was engaging in those behaviors to begin with was because I was deeply terrified. I was perceiving abandonment. I was terrified of being alone. I was terrified of evolving and expanding and the new. Like, the version of myself I am in this present moment is a completely new experience. I've never experienced myself and my world around me from this lens. And so even though it's everything I've ever wanted, it's new and it feels terrifying to my nervous system. I'm no longer relating through my addictive behaviors. I'm no longer engaging in my addictive behaviors. I'm no longer engaging in my protectors. And you know what happened when I released all my addictive behaviors? My overthinking increased. Why would that be? Because I don't have the addictive behaviors to numb out anymore. And so then the overthinking is increased, right? So the whole expression of it gets worse before it gets better. You will notice your body will try and find other ways to help you feel safe against that pain. And you have to continually catch it and be like, oh, my overthinking is increasing. Why is that? Oh, because I don't have TV anymore to numb it out. And so now I need to show my body it's safe to release overthinking. So it happens in layers like an onion, and it can feel really exhausting. But you have to connect back to your why. Why are you doing this, even though it can feel exhausting at times? You're doing it so that your new norm is a norm where you're not having to overthink, where you feel safe to be with pain, where you feel safe to be with fear, where you don't fear the new, the unknown anymore. And that's worth it to have that be your new norm. So for me, my old norm was always having someone like a safety person, an anchor outside of myself. My new norm is that I am my only anchor right now. Me and God, we're doing it together. I don't have any other anchors right now. Like on the day to day, I have support. I have my mentor, I have my mastermind group, I have family, I have some friends. Like I have some support, but it's very different than me having that daily anchor I used to have. It used to be a boyfriend, it used to be a best friend, then it was my mentor. Now it's no one but me. And so there's this terrified inner 2-year-old that lives inside of me. And then there's adult me. And we've had to learn how to work together of me helping this younger part of me feel safe enough to allow adult me to be the anchor rather than her looking outside for my mentor, for a man, for a best friend. The universe literally shed every anchor that I had and was like, you're ready. And so even though consciously this is what I've always wanted, was to experience this level of safety and independence and connection with myself and to feel like my own anchor, it's a completely new experience. And so everything feels foreign. It feels like when you get off the plane and you've landed in this new country, you've never been there before. You're walking around, you're exploring, you feel a little scared because it's not familiar, but you also feel excited. Like, what am I going to find here? That's exactly how I feel in my own body right now. And so when you truly have a healing and expanding journey, it's not about becoming someone new. It's that this is actually who I always have been underneath the layers, the trauma, the protectors of the anxious attachment, the codependency, the TV addiction, the validation addiction, the seeking saving from men, from my family, from being the baby of the family. This is who I actually am always meant to be, my authentic self. That's mine. My cat's trying to drink my tea. My bone broth, actually, for those that know, I've been a vegetarian my whole life and I've been trying to incorporate bone broth and it's been a journey, but that's for another time. Anyway, it's coming into who you were always meant to be, not becoming someone new, but it can feel that way, right? I can feel like, wow, I'm becoming this new version of myself. And it is new because I've never experienced it before, but it's who I've always been underneath all of the layers of trauma. The universe just now says, you're ready, because before I wasn't ready. I needed those anchors to feel safe. And now I needed that anchor to guide me home to myself. And so that's what my mentor was for me. She was the anchor to then help me learn how to become my own anchor, just like I'm the anchor for my clients, because we need that. We're never taught how to be our own anchor. So I am that for my clients until they learn how to be their own anchor. Doesn't mean that I then stop supporting them. It means that that support looks different rather than I am your safety. You are now your safety, and I'm here to continue to show you that you're safe to be your own safety. So all that's to say is that when you truly release these protectors, when you release the control, when you release the need to know, all of these protectors, it's going to feel scary and it's going to feel new. But you have to remember, why do you travel to new places? You travel to grow, you travel to experience, you travel to explore. And that is why we're on this healing journey, is to actually become who we were always meant to become. And so how you do that is not by how I was doing it before, where I would have these symptoms and I would make them wrong. And then I would force myself to relate in a new way. It worked. I healed a lot of those symptoms, but that still was not fully accepting that those symptoms were there, because I still had so much shame and fear around being with those symptoms. And so whatever your symptoms are, we all have symptoms of something: anxiety, depression. For me, it was BPD. For you, it could be ADHD, it could be narcissism, right? Like, these labels have had such heavy stigmas, and it's like, we then are missing the whole point. The whole point isn't to be like, oh, now that I understand what these symptoms are, I can label people and judge people. It's like, no, these labels exist to understand your experience, not to stigmatize people. So we have this whole thing like, oh, he's a narcissist, da da da. And it's like, sure, but like, to some extent, we all have narcissistic defenses. It's all just how your trauma shows up. So the way that I have borderline defenses, you may have narcissist defenses. And that doesn't have to mean anything about you. It just means that that's how your trauma shows up. Just like someone else may have histrionic defenses or antisocial defenses. Like, they're all defenses. They're all just trauma. It's all the same root. It just shows up a little bit differently for each of us based on our psychological makeup, based on our trauma, based on our childhoods. So it's not helpful to be like, oh yeah, they're a narcissist. Like, okay, sure, they're a narcissist. So with that information, how does that affect you, right? Okay, maybe you're more aware of, why are you attracting someone with narcissistic defenses? How is that a mirror for you, right? We always have to bring it back to ourselves. So why did the universe place me as a DBT therapist where I was serving borderline clients? Oh, it was because I was meant to learn that I also had some borderline symptoms. Why was I attracting borderline clients, borderline friends, some of which I'm not able to be friends with because, unlike me, they did not want to look at their borderline symptoms. So this isn't to say if someone has narcissism or borderline, you're just like, oh, it's trauma, so it's okay, right? Is this person willing to actually look at their symptoms? Number one. Number two, why are you focusing on them rather than you? It always comes back to you. We can't control anyone else. So what are you attracting? And what does that represent in your own heart? What is that mirroring for you? What's happening in your own internal experience? Because as children, the nature of being a child is that we're narcissistic. We make everything about us as children. That's how it's supposed to be as children, right? The issue is that when we grow up, narcissistic defenses simply just means that you have trouble looking at shame. And so then you do things to avoid shame. For me, it shows up differently with borderline. I have no problem looking at shame. My issue is feeling unclear and not knowing, like, what's my stuff, what's the other person's stuff. So like, if someone's like, if my mentor calls me out for something and she's like, oh, you're relating through this way. Sure, I can be with the shame. Doesn't mean the shame doesn't feel fucking awful, right? I'm human. Yeah. But I'm not trying to avoid the shame. I just want to know, so I can feel like I can trust myself, because borderline is a disconnection from self. I mean, trauma is a disconnection from self, but with borderline, it's like, it's a lack of sense of self because there's such a deep fear of abandonment that you're just adapting on or projecting on. And the enmeshment happens, which is why this is the first time I'm not enmeshed with someone, is such a scary, huge thing for me. But it's also like literally everything that this healing work has been leading up to. So you just have to get curious around your symptoms. This kind of went off track, but it's all related because when you are deeply present, which is step one, you have to look at what comes up. Are you avoiding shame? You don't have to make that mean, oh my God, I'm a narcissist and now I'm doomed for life. Like, forget the labels. Just look at the symptoms. What are your symptoms communicating to you? Do you know what happens when I Google borderline symptoms? Treatment, go to hospital. Like, this is the world we live in. So if I had ever uncovered these symptoms before working with my mentor, how do you think that would have made me feel? How do you think that would have made my clients who have borderline symptoms feel? Oh, there's no hope. You just have to go to a hospital, or you have to go, to this outpatient program, or, oh, you can go to DBT and learn some skills, but you're never going to heal it. That makes you feel hopeless. The answers on the Google for any of these disorders, which again, just trauma, is medication, talk therapy, or go to a hospital. We need better options, which is why I'm here. I'm here to give you guys way more effective options, which is actually to heal the root of those symptoms so you don't have the symptoms anymore. Just because you have anxiety does not mean you have to have anxiety the rest of your life. Just because I have had experienced borderline symptoms does not mean that these symptoms have to be here the rest of my life. We get to heal whatever symptoms we have. Just because you've been chronically, clinically depressed and you have a chemical imbalance in your brain does not mean you have to have a chemical imbalance in your brain forever. It means we have to look at, well, why do you have a chemical imbalance? And then people are going to say, oh, genetics. Well, you're just born that way. Okay, sure. Well, why are your genetics ones that have chemical imbalances? Generational trauma. You get to shift that and break that so that you can change the chemical imbalance and pass on a much healthier chemical balance to your child if you choose to have children. So I am here to give you actual hope for healing and actual tools to heal rather than being told, well, that's it. You're just going to have PTSD for the rest of your life. That's not a life that I want to live. I don't want to be told I have to have something the rest of my life. That would be saying like, oh, you were diagnosed with cancer and you just have to have it for the rest of your life. That's actually bullshit because you could look at, well, what is causing the cancer? As someone who's had cancer in my life, I can tell you there were many causes for my cancer, most of which were probably unprocessed pain and trauma from past lives, from my mother's womb, from generations before me, ways that my inner child was trying to get needs met, past life trauma, all the things. So there's always a root to it. Now, that doesn't mean, and this is important because I caught myself doing this at some point in my healing journey where when I would understand the root, I would then use that as a sneaky way to control, right? Like, well, if I can understand the root, then I can control this experience from manifesting. It's not about control. It's about accepting that what you are attracting, you are meant to attract so that you can learn from it. So that maybe you then stop attracting it, but not from this place of like control and hypervigilance, but from this place of, oh, I attracted this to heal this wound, and now I can heal and tend to this wound so that I won't naturally attract these things anymore. So that's how you get to step 3, which is magnetizing all that you desire, attracting all that you desire. It comes through first accepting where you're at, first accepting your symptoms, first accepting parts of yourself that you have repressed and shamed your whole life. So for example, you'll see business coaches preach about money goals. Now I'm a business owner. I used to focus a lot on those goals because I had it preached at me all the time, right? Like hit your 10K month and your 20K month and it's like boom, 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 boom. And it's being shot at you, all these things. And you get lost in it and you're like, oh my God, I'm behind. I'm not making $1 million per minute, and then you get in this frenetic energy. And I literally had to mute all those business coaches because I was like, this is disconnecting me from my why. Why am I here? Why am I even running a business? Why am I here doing this work? So I had to really reconnect why. And part of my healing my relationship with money was acceptance. One, it was taking inspired action of the things that I was avoiding doing, like creating structure and systems and that divine masculine energy that I was scared of. And now I'm doing it and it feels really good and empowering. but also accepting that as long as I'm showing up and doing what I'm here to do and connected to my heart and my mission and my purpose and my wisdom and my soul, that everything is going to happen in the timing it's meant to. So you don't want to use that as an excuse to not take action. Like, well, it's just going to happen when it's meant to, so I'm just going to sit here and wait. No, you take action, but you don't take action with this frenetic energy of like, I need to make this happen and I'm trying to control the timeline. You take action of, I would be like, literally, I would be showing up right now and doing this live. I mean, I don't get paid for this live, right? Or this podcast episode, but I would, but it is a way that I market my work, right? So it is a way that could lead to sales, but I would do this literally for free. Yes, I do need to make money. Yes. And that's how I know I've landed in alignment, is that this goes so far beyond money. This is my purpose. This is what I live and breathe every day. And so when you connect to your purpose, which I wasn't always connected to my purpose, I was only connected to it about 3 years ago. I lived more years of my life not connected to my purpose than connected, but everything led to the next thing. So if you want to get to your purpose, you have to allow everything to lead to the next thing. How do we do that? We accept where we are right now. Acceptance first, always. Acceptance before change. And that's something from DBT that I will take away forever and ever and ever. Acceptance before change. So with money, it's I'm accepting where I'm at. I'm still taking the inspired action, and I trust the timeline of when everything is meant to catch up. It all happens as it should. And I truly am grateful that it's happening the way it is, because I've had to learn some really hard lessons around money. And so by actually accepting that this is where I'm at, it's allowed me to learn those lessons rather than fighting it and then missing the whole lesson. So we save ourselves time, energy, and money when we actually surrender to where we're at. What do I need to learn? Why am I attracting this? And again, not so you can try and control it, but from a stance of curiosity and openness and learning and growing. Acceptance has been such a huge lesson for me these past few months. It's something that cognitively I have taught for many years, even before starting my business, that I know cognitively, but embodying it, not making these things mean anything about me, feeling safe to be with the deep, terrified younger part of myself, feeling safe to be with the shame, feeling safe to be with all that is in this present moment, that has allowed so much to shift. And so if you want to attract all of your desires, you have to make energetic space in your body. You can't be running from a bear and then being like, where's all my money? Where's my dream partner? Oh, you're running from a bear. So it's time to take off the goggles and get still with yourself and slow down and stop running away from the bear, aka yourself, the pain living in your body, and start with what is in this present moment. Breathe with the sensations that come up. Breathe with the emotions that come up. Reach out for support and co-regulation. Like, money, time, and energy is no longer an excuse. You have free content. This is free right now. You can literally do the grounding meditation and just breathe for free. Or if you want deeper support, I have my membership that's a low cost option, $3 a day. There is no excuse anymore other than you're getting in your own way. And you have to be honest about that. Why are you getting in your own way? Why are you choosing the heart of suffering rather than the heart of pain? Pain is inevitable. Pain is a part of life. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you can stop suffering. And let me tell you, as someone who's suffered a lot of my life and someone who's experienced a lot of pain in the past 3 years, pain is always better than suffering. And anytime I notice I'm suffering in the present, it's because I'm avoiding pain. Once I actually feel the pain and the fear, the suffering stops. And by suffering, I mean staying stuck in your head, overthinking, feeling scared, feeling on edge. When you're actually just getting to that root, all of that softens and your mind gets a lot quieter. So to wrap up, 3 steps to feeling how you want to feel, shifting your energy and calling in all that you desire. Step 1 is deep, deep presence. Come back to the present moment, each and every moment. Step 2, acceptance and radical honesty of how you're actually feeling in the present moment. We've never felt safe to actually ask for what we need or to own how we actually feel. What you actually need is to slow down, slow the fuck down and get still with yourself. Because this little you is running all over the place trying to feel safe. You have to be the one to show her she's safe. Step number 3 is to release control, trust your timing. Well, let me reverse that. It's to take the inspired action, release control around the inspired action you just took, trust your timing. That's 3 steps for number 3. Take your inspired action, release control, and trust your timing. Okay, go practice those. Let me know how they go. And remember, this is a practice. It's not supposed to be easy, but you have to choose your hard, suffering versus pain. These 3 steps will guide you in processing your pain. Avoiding these 3 steps is going to perpetuate suffering. Choose wisely. Do we have any questions, thoughts, feelings before we wrap up today? If you guys are needing support, I have 2 ways of doing this work right now. Well, technically 3 or maybe even 4. We're going to see. I am going to be launching one of my signature offers pretty soon. I just have to decide exactly when. But for now, we have 3 options. We have the membership, which I just added a monthly live Q&A/community connect call. So the tier 1 of membership comes with 3 live Facebook trainings in a private Facebook community group, comes with 1 live Zoom Connect/Q&A call, and all prior trainings that have been recorded. And then the other option is one-on-one, which is my highest level of support. We have a bi-weekly option. We have a weekly option. We have a 3-month package. We have a 6-month package, which is discounted. And then Real Men Heal is open for enrollment. So we have Real Men Heal, which is our signature 3-month men's group healing program. That is now open for enrollment as well. And then we have a new offer for Real Men Heal dropping very soon. So stay tuned. And then my signature offer that focuses on helping women heal anxious attachment is also going to be opening for enrollment soon. So you can DM me if you want to chat through which option is best for you, or head to link in bio to learn more about all of them. I would love to support you in processing this pain so you can feel lighter, more connected to yourself, more grounded, all of the things. Kari says, this was fire. So happy I caught it live. Yay, I'm so glad. Thank you for coming live. I love having you here. All right, my loves. Mwah. If you found this helpful, please spread it, share it. The more people that can hear these 3 simple but effective and powerful, easier said than done steps, the more we spread this healing work to the world and the more we heal collectively. Love you guys so much. You are safe to embrace the changes that you are going through. You will land on the other side, I promise, but you have to just stick with this uncomfortable caterpillar to butterfly metamorphosis you may be going through like I am. It's scary, it's exciting, it's all the things, and it's all okay. You are safe to evolve into your most powerful, authentic, wise being. Mwah. Love you all so much, and I will see you on the next episode.